Hey, what's going on? My name's Brian Pickowicz.
And I'm Lindsey Rago.
And we are the head coaches at the Fitness Project, where we focus on building fit and healthy leaders. Our belief here at TFP is that when we are healthy, when we're strong, when we feel our best, it allows us to be our best in the areas of life that matter most to us. Now, one of those areas that we are going to have to learn how to handle is social settings, whether that's going out with colleagues, going out with employees, spending time at a restaurant with your family, or just spending time with your friends. And in order to reach your fitness goals, in order to really feel your best and have those healthy habits, we have to learn how to change the way that we approach social settings so that we can, A, be present with the people that are there, but also be consistent with the goals that we have set for ourselves.
Right. When we go into social settings, usually there's this conflict of interest, or at least it feels that way, right? It feels like I can't stay consistent on my fitness goals if I'm going out to a restaurant, if I'm going to a cookout, if I'm going to be drinking alcohol. It feels like there's a conflict of interest. The truth is, you can actually experience and have the best time when you are in social settings while also feeling like you did, quote unquote, really well with your food. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be a conflict. There's actually a really simple process to mentally and then physically executing on the habits or behaviors that will give you great results, but also let you be fully present and be balanced with the foods that you choose. That's what we're gonna teach you.
And so we have 4 simple points for you, and we think it's important to kind of create a little context before we dive in. Ask yourself some simple, mindful questions as you're listening in. Meaning, each one of us has our own set of habits. And for each situation in our life, there's gonna be different habits. So you think of, if Lindsey and I go out to eat, as a couple, we're gonna have certain habits together. The way we taste food, the way we enjoy food, and that's gonna be different than when we go out with our family. That's gonna be different than when we go out with our employees. So there's different habits for each situation, and some we're gonna have less control over, or let's say more pull to behave against our goals or in the opposition of our goals than we really want to. And so ask yourself, like, hey, what are some of the situations that I want to start to improve in my own social life when it comes to food and how I approach it? And if we start to build that awareness right now, then these 4 questions are going to become really simple to implement, right? These 4 tips are going to be simple to implement, and you'll make more progress. And I want to say this before we dive in. The key is to also get rid of the black and white thinking. The idea that you're either on your diet, perfect 100%, or you're going out with people, therefore you have to eat cheeseburgers and fries. The truth is that if we're eating mindfully, the truth is if that we develop a flexible approach, we should be able to have some time where we're eating a little bit of cake, having a simple glass of alcohol, a wine or a drink or something of the like, and still be able to go back to our healthy, normal habits. It's that flexibility that we all want to strive towards that really makes this work. And so I wanted to just say that before we give you the 4 points. Get rid of the black and white thinking you have to be perfect or on, and that's going to make these 4 points really stick.
First point, when it comes to social settings, and specifically how to balance what you're eating in social settings, is don't make it a big deal. I'm gonna say this with the alternative of make it light, emotionally, right? Separate the emotions from the experience. This will make sense when I share what typically happens. You're gonna see yourself in the setting I described. Usually what happens when we're dieting or trying to make progress with our fitness goals is we have a set of rules for ourselves in our daily personal life. Okay, well, I don't need 3 desserts a day. I don't need this, I don't need that. So I'm working on these things, eating more protein, whatever, right? These are your rules for your personal life. But then you go and you step into one of those other situations where now you're a friend. You're not just in your personal life with yourself, you're now in friend setting, or you're in parent mode, or you're in boss mode, right? You step into a different setting and now you're expected to show up a little differently. Maybe that's you typically drink with your employees, your friends, your family, whatever, or you typically eat more, right? There's a different set of experiences in each setting, like Brian was saying. What we usually do is we try to hold on super, super tight to all these things we have in our personal life and our rules for ourselves, and we try to take those and force them into a different setting. We aren't flexible, and we create a lot of anticipation and a lot of times anxiety around what's going to happen in those other situations. What's this person going to think of me if I don't drink? What's somebody going to say if I don't eat the food they brought? And we start to build it up into this really overwhelming and anxiety provoking experience before it even happens. So a huge part of the prep and really changing how you approach and go into and experience social settings with eating is at first, don't make it a big deal. Make it light. You're like, hey, I'm making healthier choices, and here's a great test.
Great opportunity.
Here's a great opportunity for me to learn and test this and just see how I respond to it. See how much lighter that already feels? So don't make it a big deal. Make it light, separate a little bit of the emotion from the experience, and that's gonna make it so much easier to implement some of the tactics that we give you as well.
And that allows us to be neutral, right? And that's what Lindsey's really alluding to, is become neutral, right? Don't create a problem before the problem's actually there. And then once we're neutral, we can think of a plan, right? So we can set a plan and an intention for the actual experience that we're having. And that's number 2, is set an intention, create a plan. And so that intention might be, I want to be fully present with the people that I'm going to be with, and I want to eat till I'm about 80% full. It's like, boom, which is ideal for most of us, right? We want to eat to the point where we feel like, hey, I'm good. I don't need to eat anymore. I'm still a little hungry, but I'm pretty good. If we did that, all of us would be in really great shape, because we tend to overeat, right? And so if we set an intention of, what's my outcome for this experience? Do I want to build a better relationship with my parents? Do I want to build a better relationship with my friends, right? Why do we drink, right? If we're drinking with other people, it's because we want to usually build a better connection. So how can I build a better connection with my friends and also be mindful with food? And we can start to ask ourselves these mindful questions, and that will allow us to create a plan, which is, hey, I'm going to have one meal that's going to have X, Y, Z. You could even, let's say you're going out to a restaurant, you could plan on what you're going to eat beforehand. You could look at the menu, right? That's something that we do often. And that's not because we care about calories. It's usually because we want to make sure that the food's good. But it makes it a lot easier to be able to set that plan. And so before you're in any situation, ask yourself, what's my ideal outcome? What do I want to get from the experience? What do I really want to create in this experience? What's my intention, right? For my body, my health, and this connection that I'm having? And how do I plan to be able to make the healthiest decisions that I can?
Those first 2 tips are really the bulk of how to handle social eating, right? Don't make it a huge deal, and have some type of plan. It doesn't have to be perfect. We gave you that caveat. It's not about being perfect, it's about being flexible, not black and white. From there, once you're actually in the setting, 2 more tips. Third is eat mindfully. To eat mindfully is to pay attention. If you're not paying attention to what you're eating and drinking, that's when things like this happen. Hey, your drink's empty. You need another one. Boom. Hey, did you try this? Oh, here's a slice of my pie. Oh, you didn't even, oh, we're gonna have an appetizer, right? Things start to be put on you and you aren't paying attention. So then you're like, yeah, sure, right? Which is what leads you to be out of alignment with the intention that you set, or the intention you hoped to have in the experience. So eat mindfully, slow it down, pay attention when you are eating, when you are drinking, and that's gonna give you far more, I would say, control over your decisions, right? Because a lot of times you don't intentionally make decisions. So if you're mindful, you can be much more intentional with making those decisions that are best for you.
And then the last thing, once we've worked through these layers, right? Once we've set a plan neutrally, and then we've decided what intention we're going to lead with, we're actually mindful in the moment, is we want to get present, right? And so being present means that we are in the experience, right? And a lot of times it's not the food that we have to control, it's ourselves, right? The food is just the thing that we're using to handle those situations where we're not really sure what to do. Right? I had that conversation, I want to get out of it, so I go and get food. I'm not really sure how other people are going to perceive if I get a salad or if I get something healthy. I don't want them to make a comment, so I'm going to eat like everyone else. It's just being present, right? And being present means I'm here and I'm now, and I'm not going to judge the situation. I'm not going to judge what they say or how they handle what I'm doing. I'm just going to be present, and I'm also going to focus on other people. If we focus on other people and we focus on building connection with other people, it makes us think less about the food. And that's really the ultimate goal, is that food becomes less of a focus. We're there to connect, and food is a wonderful place to connect, right? We all have great memories of connecting with family and friends and loved ones and all these different people in our lives through food, but it doesn't have to be the sole focus. And if we can be present and really sit with ourselves, everything else gets easier. And so these are the 4 points. These are the 4 points you're going to lean into. We empower you to lean into when you think of social settings and sticking to your nutrition goals. And we would love to hear what your biggest takeaway from this video is.
Please leave that in the comments below. Let us know if your takeaway is one tip you're going to implement. Fantastic. If you went out and implemented and you want to come back and tell us what you took away from the experience, let us know in the comments below. We would love to celebrate with you and set you up to win. So now you can take this, go out and conquer your day.
Cheers.